We are hearing sirens in the skies of Tel Aviv, Israel. We're going to go live to Jonathan Hunt. He's on the ground. Jonathan, what's happening?
Kaylee, sirens are just sounding right now, as you can plainly hear behind me. We got the alert a few minutes ago, and usually within about 1 minute or so of these sirens going, which confirmed that this area is indeed a target of whatever has been launched from Iran, is when we see the incoming missiles and the interceptors going up to try to stop those missiles. Now, I have to say, it is a really hazy day. This thick haze and cloud that has been hanging over Tel Aviv today. So it's going to be difficult for our photographer, Brian, to pick up the incoming, but we'll keep an eye out for it now. We are, of course, still in the middle of the Jewish holiday of Passover here. Yesterday, as that holiday began, we saw scores of launches coming towards Israel, many of them targeting this Tel Aviv area. Today, it has been quieter. We're just seeing some flashes in the sky right now. Over to our right, Brian, if you can see that. This is a really thick haze that we've got hanging over Tel Aviv. It's been hanging over us now for about 24 hours. It does make it really difficult to see anything here, but we just did see a flash. Not sure if that was an interceptor or an impact. I don't think it was an impact because it was not on the ground. Just checking with our security here. There's some sort of sound there, which again sounded like something being successfully intercepted here. And as you look down on the main roadway there, you can see the hazard lights of vehicles that have pulled over during this alert. That is something we see pretty much every time. Obviously, everybody is told to go to the shelters the minute they hear those sirens. A lot of people who are, if they're in their vehicles, just pull over under those bridges to find whatever cover they can. But for the moment, Kaylee, it appears that all we've heard so far are high-level interceptions. Another one I just heard just off to our left again. Then we'll keep you posted. No sign, from our point of view at least, at this point of any impacts here, Kaylee.
And Hunt, you'll keep us updated. I know my colleague Harris has a question for you.
I do, with some further information. First of all, just real quick, how much time do they have normally between the sound of the sirens to get underground?
That's about 1.5 minutes, Harris. It's really quick. You get the first alert that you might be generally in the path of these missiles around. You get that. Then you've got about 5 or 6 minutes before you hear the sirens. Once you hear the sirens, you know that your area is indeed the target. And then it tells you very plainly you have about 1 minute to 1.5 minutes to get to the shelter. So you can imagine how terrifying it is to live like that. And you think, Harris, I know you would think of this, but you think of the children that go through this day after day after day, having to live that way, running to the shelters, being told by their parents, come on, we've got to get to this shelter right now. So much of their lives disrupted, so much of their lives, these young kids here, defined now by constantly running to shelters to try to avoid missile strikes. It's a terrible way to live, Harris.
Jonathan, before we let you go, any update on the 11-year-old girl who was in critical condition?
We were looking for an update on that girl earlier today, and just hearing some more explosions off to our left here. But we were looking for an update on that little girl earlier today. We have not seen one. The last we heard was that she was and remained in critical condition, but I can't give you an update from the last few hours, Kaylee.
Jonathan, thank you. You know, Guy, as I look at this, and I know you have some thoughts on the NATO allies, but I just can't help but remark on how exactly irrational this regime is. You are staring down two of the largest powers. You are staring down the world's hegemonic power that sunk 155 of your battleships, struck more than 2,000 targets, and this is your response on Passover, no less. Yeah,
and imagine if they had nuclear weapons, which is why that truly is unacceptable. And President Trump has refused to accept it with action. The Israelis have been living like this open-endedly now for quite some time.
Yeah.
Horrible way. Jonathan was talking about kids. It's terrible for everyone who has to live through it. And yet the Israeli public, this is existential for them. They want to see this war through because that is a deep, deep threat to their security. And that's why Israel is putting up with this. The Israeli people are putting up with this because they realize it's necessary. And not to minimize what the Israelis are going through, I just want to point out during this conflict, the vast majority of missiles fired out of Iran have been targeting Arab countries in the Gulf, including especially the United Arab Emirates. Right. Iran is lashing out at all of its neighbors, particularly Muslim countries. An irrational, evil regime that's conscripting child soldiers. It's a sick, sick regime that chants and lives death to America, which is why we're doing this.
Rosanna, and that was always data point number one to me. The Gulf states stayed neutral in this before it happened. And then you strike them and create more enemies. This is why the most important two words President Trump said last night is nuclear shield. We cannot allow them to have a nuclear shield.
I have to say, I was supposed to go to Dubai at the beginning of March and go to Saudi Arabia, and then the bombs fell, and then we, obviously changed our plans. And I've talked to friends of mine in Saudi Arabia. They thought they were going to be in a safe place, and, they've had their own close calls over there. And just reiterating what you talked about, Guy, Israelis, I have a friend who lives in Tel Aviv. She's been in a bomb shelter. I'm not talking about sporadically through the day. She spent a lot of time in the bomb shelters. And I think they tell them to shut off their phones, too. They don't want any kind of communication, or I guess they want everybody to stay nice and calm and not look at social media and stuff like that. But last night, when I was watching the President of the United States, he talked about that they are completing their core values and core initiatives. And, listen, we're New Yorkers. We want everything done in a New York minute. It's not going to be a New York minute, but he's saying 2 weeks, buckle up. So, gas prices might be high, but it's a small price to pay. We have our men and women on the front lines in the war. We want to thank our troops who were out there and their families who were concerned and so proud of their young men and women out there.
Lauren, Trump said last night, I have to fix the mistakes of the past, because let's just be objective here. The plane loads of cash approach during the Obama years did not work.
It didn't work, and it actually perpetuated, I think, in a lot of people's minds, this problem. Whenever you give the largest state sponsor of terror and people who we knew were developing a nuclear weapon $1.7 billion, and you say, hey, we'll just take your word for it. Just tell us you're not doing it. Don't develop the uranium. Just hold off on the centrifuges for 10 to 15 years. And then what happens when you have Joe Biden paying $6 billion for 5 hostages during his tenure as president to this terrorist regime? Of course, the consequences are going to be very stark. And this was a case of kicking the can down the road. You think President Trump, with the economy turning back around, with gas prices the lowest that they'd been since his first term in office, being the peacemaker in chief, my gosh, he settled 8 wars around the world. You think he really wanted to do this right now? No, but he had no other choice, because they left him with no other choice. This regime was within weeks of developing a nuclear weapon. We have a president who says, when I see a problem, I will address it, and his #1 job is keeping Americans safe. That's why we're doing this.
Yeah, it's a 5-decade problem, half-century problem. So what, you let it linger for another half-century? I guess that's what the left wanted.
Hey, everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.